Victoria Coates joining me now. The straits are closed still. The missiles are still flying. The nuclear dust is still in Iran. The fighting continues. When will President Trump finish the job? He seems reluctant to do it.
Well, good morning, Stuart. I think we actually saw some progress for diplomacy this morning. The Iranians shot 11 ballistic missiles at Israel overnight. Israel intercepted all of those, and then Israel struck a petrochemicals plant in Iran and did some fairly significant damage, and that's the kind of facility they're going to need if they're going to resume imports. So I think smartly, one of the few smart things Iran has done is they've declared they're going to stop these hostilities. Now, they're insisting on dragging Lebanon into this conflict, but guess what? That's not sovereign Iranian territory. The Israelis and the government of Lebanon are the ones who have agency there. So I don't think that's really going to get them very far.
How much longer is this going to go on for?
Well, that's always been the sort of $67,000 question. I don't know is the short answer. I don't think it can go on for that much longer, just surely because of the troubles the Iranians have found themselves in. So I think the burden is more on them than on the president. I think he is able to keep this blockade in effect, ratchet up the pressure on them. And they've shown like they'll climb down, as they did this morning. But the other thing, Stuart, is there's some hazy and certainly not confirmed, but persistent reporting that communications with the supreme leader were lost overnight. So he may have come to something of an impasse, either because of his existing wounds or because another strike took him out.
President Trump is speaking out about Mojtaba Khamenei, the younger Khamenei. Listen to what the president had to say.
Is this younger Khamenei any better for the United States than his father was?
Younger, I think more rational, injured. He's pretty badly injured. So there's a certain bravery there. A lot of people, if they were injured that badly, they wouldn't be talking about, how we doing with the United States. They'd have other things on their mind. So there's a certain bravery there. But he is very seriously injured.
But Victoria, you're hearing reports of speculation that he may have been taken out overnight, Khamenei?
Yes, that's that. As I said, these are not confirmed reports, Stuart, but it points to how fluid the situation is. As the president said, he is at least very badly wounded. And so the question is, can he be a kind of a Gorbachev figure for Iran? Can he make decisions? Can he do the kind of deal the president wants? The president's been very clear. It's the opening of the strait, as we were just discussing. It's getting rid of that nuclear dust, renouncing all interest in a nuclear weapon. Then we can talk about the other potential elements of that. Can he make those decisions? That's the question mark here. If he can, then yes, he can be a kind of a transitional figure for Iran. Would he be my first choice? No, but there aren't many angels, or George Washingtons rather, in this Iranian regime to play that kind of role. And we do need someone who can make decisions.
Victoria Coates, thanks very much indeed for trying to sort it out. Difficult subject. We'll bring you back anytime you like. Thanks a lot, Victoria.